Here on the main stage, I would like to welcome Christophe Riboulet and Cécile Roche from Institut Ligne France. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Welcome.
Bonjour.
Good to see you guys. You'll be talking about embracing lean for a greener future, and this is the story of Proditec, which is the company that Christophe runs, and we look forward to hearing the story. So you have the stage for the next half hour. Thank you, guys.
See you soon.
So I'm really delighted to introduce Christophe, who will be talking to you about something that is a highly topical subject. You know that we are currently with the COP28 that is underway, and the question is how lean is a greater life or green? So I have the pleasure to working with Christophe on a regular basis because not only because he's the president of the Institut in France, but also because I regularly visit his company to discover, to see the latest progress made by his teams in implementing lean for business and people. And each time it's really amazing things that we can discover in this company. So indeed, Christophe is the president of Proditec, which he will introduce to you, of course. And he started his lean journey almost 12 years ago. But yet for the past 2 years, he began really to take a real interest in sustainable development. So he had several attempts to use the best known tools on this topic, but he has chosen to a very concrete subject that is resource saving, to use the lean thinking framework that has become his own and his team's own. So Christophe, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Cécile, for this nice introduction. So let me introduce my company first. So Proditec is designing and making robots for automatic quality control for flawless production and stress-free operation, mainly on 2 different markets, pharmaceutical markets and minting markets. We make sure that the final quality of the product is perfect, and also we help manufacturers to lower the cost of their non-quality. And doing that, we try also to reduce the pressure on operating people, manufacturing flow due to the non-quality issues. Basically, we are a small company, 50 people, but located in France. But we are making more than 90% of our turnover outside of France in more than 35 countries. And it's a very technological product because we are using electronics, mechanics, everything that you can find in a robot, like also artificial intelligence, optics, cameras, so a lot of technologies to assemble and to integrate. So I'm not going to talk about climate change. You have all the information every day, but what I would like to emphasize is that it's already here. Last year in Bordeaux area, very near to my home, we had 2 huge giant fires at the same time. It was very impressive, and it lasted for several weeks. And also I found this interesting poll that says that most of the people in Europe already can feel the impact of climate change in their everyday lives. So what should we do? That's the question. I would like to share my personal journey on that. And this is also very personal when you start to be interested in this topic, because first you have to accept, and I had to do that. I had to accept that this is a very complex problem and there is no easy solution. It's not a technological solution that is going to change everything. And I started to read and listen a lot of experts. I started also to try to understand young generations that are, most of them are more aware of this problem, and it can be sometimes frightening, and it can raise a lot of anxiety. And this you have to accept, because this you have to manage this personal feeling that, okay, there is no solution, we are done. But then you move forward and say, okay, but it's going to be difficult. But now, okay, what can we do? What can we save? And now, okay, let's start acting. That's the most important. And then you are much more ready to think about a different way of acting. And one of these way to increase personal awareness is to integrate communities. I have the chance to be the president of the Lean France Institute, and we have made several action on this topic. For example, we have a community called Lean and Green. A lot of people are writing articles, videos about the topic. And it's also important to look for examples in the way Toyota, what Toyota is doing with this its environmental challenge is very interesting to study and look for, to be able to increase my personal awareness. So then I was ready, I think, to continue on a more collective journey. So I said, okay, as president of the company, I need now to start to move forward with the company as a whole. But where to start? How to start? With whom? It was in June 2022, and I had no clue what to do. So of course, the easiest way was to try existing initiatives that I could find on the market. And the first one is pretty obvious. It's carbon footprint measurement. I look in the internet, I found a lot of startups now that are providing consulting tools, digital tools, to be able to help you measure your carbon footprint. And it starts with scope one, and they say to you, okay, let's start with scope one. It's the easiest way to do. Scope 2 is more complicated. Scope 3 also is more complicated. So what they propose to, of course, help you to measure. And then they bring their expert consultant to analyze, to draw an action plan, and then to act, and then to measure. But it's 1 year after. So I told them, okay, but when you make improvement, you want to know if it's good improvement or not, if a good move or not. So you have to measure on a regular basis. And they said, oh, no, you don't get it. If you want to be certified, you have only one measurement per year, and then you can get certified on your carbon footprint. Okay, I was not really happy with this answer. So I said, okay, no, let's not continue in this way. I found another way of acting. It's a business climate convention. It's quite popular right now in France. It's a French association supported by authorities that propose to a method to shift from the extractive economy to the regenerative economy. That sounds very well. That sounds very good, but it's very general. And what they propose to engage CEOs in small working groups to be able to draw a grand action plan for the company. And once again, it's a 1 year reflection to draw a plan. So that means you have to think for 1 year and then you can act. And the same, I was not able to move in this direction. So it was in September 2022, I was exactly at the same point, starting point, where to start, how to start, with whom. And then, if you remember, it was last year, we started to have huge alerts from the government. Okay, there is no more gas, a lot of pressure on the supply. And in France, a lot of electricity is provided by nuclear power, and we lost more than 25% of the capacity, mainly due to maintenance problem at the same time. And it was last year in November, I received a notice from my supplier, electricity supplier, saying, okay, now the price is going to change. You're going to have a raise of 400%. That's it. And you have no choice. And it's going to be viable. So we cannot tell you what will be the price in the future. Okay, so I had the problem. Let's tackle this problem in a lean way. And what I did, I took my standard strategic framework from Lean, and the first one for me is think different. And from the very good book, The Lean Strategy, you can have two different ways of thinking. And I would say the standard way and is really to separate the strategy and the execution. And that was in this way, the carbon footprint measurement and the business convention was working in this way. You think and then you act. In the lean thinking is very different. First, you start with the problem. You have to accept the problem collectively, and then you commit to act on this problem also as a group, as a collective people. The second strategic framework for me is Kaizen, of course. Kaizen, as a fuel for Kaizen, it's maintenance. You have to do Kaizen and maintain, and then you can see what innovation is possible. And you see on the drawing and on the right, if you do innovation and then Kaizen on maintenance, then innovation, you end up with a very, very different type of innovation than a traditional way of doing without Kaizen. So that's what we did. We started with a team of employees at Proditec. We focused them on delivery and on discovery, and from them we built from our existing experience on lean product development. In this experience, we separated the discovery, the learning phase from the delivery. So we said with the team, okay, let's deliver validated knowledge, validated learning on the 2 weeks tag time. Every 2 weeks, we get some new learning to be able to move forward very fast. And the problem was, okay, let's look at the electricity consumption. So we found the numbers, and we saw, okay, the major point here is the peak electricity consumption during winter months. That's pretty clear. And we draw together the challenge. Okay, we have 2 buildings that you see on the picture. It's two different type of buildings, different architecture, different materials, different age. So the challenge is how to reduce electricity consumption while maintaining comfort and minimizing investment in this particular context. Basically, we have 2 systems. The main system, heating system, is a programmable one, reversible for heat and cold. And we have an auxiliary heating, which is totally manual. No programmation is possible. So let's start doing Kaizen loops. So the team separated in 2 different groups, one for the building A, one for the building B. And they start to analyze what was the situation and make some trials. So we discovered we had in building A 8 different setting points in the work. We have workshops, we have meeting rooms, we have offices, and we have 8 different setting points with 4 different models. As you can see, it's very, very variable way of programming. It's not user friendly at all. So the team bought some thermometers to be able to analyze, and they made a lot of different programmable tests, I would say, trying to correlate these tests, these results from the outside temperature, for example. But at the end of the winter, they were not able to get a fixed temperature. It was not possible. It was always varying depending on the external temperature. On the building B, we discovered that we had big holes in the wall. So actually, we bought this building several years ago, and we made some modification. We never terminated the modification. So we had huge loss, temperature loss through these holes. So they started to measure everything. So of course, we made work to fill these holes, but we started to see a lot of problems actually in maintenance, in terms of maintenance. And they did also the same work, meaning testing a lot of different things to be able to control the temperature and set a fixed temperature. And they were able to fix temperature because there were only 5 settings points on only one model. So much more easier to program and to set, but at a high cost. Because of the high thermical inertia, we had to put a lot of heat during the night to be able to have a certain temperature in the morning. So at one point of time, we said, okay, maybe there is a huge problem with the facility. Maybe the insulation is not good. So let's call for a facility audit made by an expert, a consultant. it was interesting because we had some numbers. We had the impact of the energy impact of the consumption, 8.7 CO2 equivalents. And we understood that the heating accounts for 40% of the total consumption. But more important, we discovered that 50% of heating consumption is done during nights and weekend because of this high inertia. And of course, because there are consultants, they draw an action plan for us, so which was good. But in the meantime, we had built a new pair of glasses for the team. So we were able to look at this action plan in a very different way. We were able to criticize and say, okay, this is a recommendation, but this is not going to work. Because, for example, just optimizing here the line optimizing the heating, it's not short and easy ROI. We had the experience already. So we say it's an interesting point, but it's difficult points. And some other points were, okay, easy. Some other points we didn't believe it was feasible because of the time, because of the impact, CO2 impact, because of the investment, because of the low gain. So we had the opportunity to read the action plan with our glasses, with our new glasses, saying, okay, there are 2 points where we can move forward. So it's how to control this heating, centralize the control. And also a new point was how to use renewable energy. A very interesting point also, if we are not able to change the building because it's already done. So this led us to innovation potentials. When you think about optimizing heating control, you go to see heating experts, they will tell you, okay, it's already existing. It's called building management systems, but it's very appropriate for new buildings, but very difficult to make on old buildings. If you want to do that on all buildings, the investment costs on 2 heterogeneous buildings is very high. And moreover, the CO2 impact of implementing this new solution will be very high. So you have to balance this with a gain. So we said, okay, let's find another way to do that. And we look for a different solution, and we turn to consumer home automation. This is a very hot topic right now. With your iPhone, you can connect to every device in your home and control with an app. It's very easy. It's very low cost. So we said, okay, let's try to do that, because we can use these tools to automate auxiliary heating to reduce inertia, and this will solve maybe most of our problems. And the investment costs is very low, and the CO2 impact of implementing is very low. So we can implement this technological solution very easily. The other way is that the other, I would say, long-term plan or average, mid-term plan is a renewable energy. And when you think about solar panel, you can think about, okay, it's a mature technology. Actually, it's not. Right now, there is a lot of funding around this topic, especially in Europe. A lot of innovation also, because there are a lot of variables that you have to take into account: the price, the technology, the weight, because it's on the roof. We have flat roofs, the resistance to wind, to external conditions. Are you going to use your own electricity and using batteries? What is the surface, the yield, etc., etc.? So we are ready, because we know we have analyzed the action plan. We are ready to move forward in this direction, and we know how to analyze these parameters and to use these new technologies for us. So if you look at the conclusion of our journey, Think Different has made a very big difference on the journey. If I had sticked with the first proposal, which are standard on the market, I will never have had the same solutions or results, because the results we had were coming from the Gemba. They were coming from the experience. They were not coming from the thinking, defining the strategy, talking to other CEOs. It's very contextual problems. So you have to take this problem in new context. So the good way to do that is really to find to use this different thinking. It's a basis for the collaboration between people. That's what I experienced with the team. It was working very well to move forward tests and share the experience, and moreover to increase the awareness of the team. The second point, act different, the same. The maintenance work we did on the field, it was maybe sometimes we thought, okay, it was very small actions, but actually it's a basis for learning. And if you don't learn, you are not able to choose the Kaizen subjects, and then you cannot reach the proper innovation. So these are the two main factors we experienced in our journey. And looking at the results from this year, if I take the 3 months, September, October, November, you can see that we experienced a big increase in 2021, plus 26% of consumption. And then we started to work on 2022, and we had minus 33%. And of course, we had changed some things, and now we have results for these 3 months, again, minus 35% of consumption. Of course, we still need to analyze this data, because we also have to correlate with the external temperature. With the global warming, it's warmer winters. But at least because we are focused on this issue, the behavior of the people is starting to change, and we can see these results. And I took only one example, which is the electricity consumption, but with exactly the same mindset, with exactly the same method and the same learning. We tackle a lot of topics in 1 year. So, for example, we removed all the use of plastic bottles in the company. We changed all the LED lights. We are now using only refurbished computers. So we had also to make a lot of experiment to be able to do that. It's not easy to do that. We, of course, implemented recycling. And moreover, it's more clear for us what the next steps are. Because now we are able also to increase this awareness in the team. So we are able to have much better discussions to choose what will be the next topic. So one person will be responsible to lead the reflection, how we can understand and reduce the emission for transportation. I told you we are exporting a lot of products outside of France, so there is a lot of traveling, mainly by plane. It's a I would say difficult topic. So we are ready to tackle this topic. And the second one, which is also very difficult and very important, is our products. So with the same way, we can tackle the first point, which will be the design of the product. So by definition, Lean helps reducing costs as a general cost for stakeholders. By thinking differently, by acting differently. And here, what I am convinced is that you have to take into account that Earth is our critical stakeholder, playing both supplier and customer roles. So Lean is, in my view and in my experience, is perfectly adapted to reduce the impacts when the impacts in your company and out of your company, and also to be able to adapt to these impacts. So we have the method, definitely. I'm convinced we have the method. Now we have to engage the people in this method and engage the people to move forward in this direction. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any question, I'm open to answer.
Thank you very much, Christophe. I will let time for the question. Didier is asking, how were you motivated 12 years ago to start your Lean journey? Were you alone at start to try the revolution, or were you accompanied by a sensei from
Yeah,
start?
my main point was quality of our products. We have a lot of developments. I told about technologies, a lot of different technologies to integrate, and I was reaching a point where to make quality with a very, very high quality. To make machines with a very, very high quality standards required by the pharmaceutical industry. I was not able to do that with conventional, methods. So I experienced a lot of things before Lean, and it was always the same ending point. We are going to do quality, and especially for a small company where you don't have resources, and especially for a small company when your customers are called Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and so on. And especially for a small company when you are in competition with Japanese and Korean people. So you have to think completely differently to reach the right level of quality, and at the same time being able to improve your products.
Thank you. I've also another question for you, because you said that you tried to use carbon footprinting or things like that, and you stopped because it was long. You needed more than 1 year, but I guess that you will come back to that because it's mandatory, no?
Yes, you're perfectly right. It's not mandatory yet for small companies, but it's going to be mandatory one day. And it's also good to have measurements. But the way we'll do that in the future, of course, will be different. That means we are not going to follow a fixed plan. For example, right now we are already looking at topics on scope 2, and maybe we'll also start on scope 3 and then come back on scope 1. So the nature of the problems we need to tackle is not defined by the scope numbers, and that's the main difference I see, because we are mature enough with the learning of the people. We are mature enough to say, okay, in our context, the most important problem to address is this one. It's not done by an external consultant that doesn't know our context very well, and he applies the same methodology to every company.
And as you said, you did it with people internally, but I think I heard that you work with a dedicated team. And now, how do you think you will share and transmit to all the company, to the rest? Because you started with a very small company, as you said, but the company is growing, and it's not so easy to share with everybody in the company.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also one mission of the team, to increase the knowledge of the other employees in the team. So we make a lot of communication, and also the team is always open to new people, of course. So a lot of communication of the different Kaizen that we are doing, because people are also part of this Kaizen, because this is changing their condition, their living condition. So of course they are interested, and that's what I said, because we are focusing on that, the overall behavior is changing. That's what I was experiencing.
Okay, thank you very much, Christophe. I see that it's time to close. So thank you, and thank you for everybody
That's right.
who's there. And
Thank
I think it's the end of the day. So congratulations for this great event now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Christophe.
Christophe.
Thank you, Christophe, for sharing your experience. Great to have you here.
Au revoir.
Goodbye. Au revoir.